If you were infected with smallpox in 1850s New York City, you would have been sent here, isolated from the rest of the city. This is all that's left of the Roosevelt Island Smallpox Hospital, which is on the National Register of Historic Places and is a landmark ruin. Roosevelt Island, known for a time as Blackwell's Island, once housed a prison, penitentiary, workhouse, housing complexes, and several hospitals, all on a small strip of land between Manhattan and Queens.
It was where New York City put those that were deemed unfitting to be living in civil society. It has a bit of a dark history in that regard.
People that were incarcerated at the time built the hospital in 1854 from stone quarried on the island, and it was the first U.S. hospital dedicated to the smallpox pandemic. At any given time, there were approximately 100 infected patients in the hospital, and thousands of people were quarantined here when it was used as a smallpox-only hospital for approximately 19 years. The chances of surviving smallpox back then? Around 60%, but that survival rate might have depended on how much money you had. Patients who could pay for treatment reportedly had private rooms on the top floor of the hospital, while poorer patients sometimes had to share rooms on the lower floors. Once smallpox was deemed to be largely under control in New York City in the mid-1880s, the smallpox hospital became Riverside Hospital and treated a wider array of patients. It was later turned into a renowned nursing school that operated until the 1950s. After the school closed, though, the structure fell into disrepair. Today, the eerily beautiful ruin stands in stark contrast to the shimmering skyscrapers of Manhattan. It's also not far from several present-day medical institutions on Roosevelt Island that offer specialized care. As the stones crumble and ivy grows, for some, there's a sense of urgency to preserve the ruin as a landmark and a memorial. Stephen Martin, the president and founder of the nonprofit Friends of the Ruin, said there's no place more appropriate for a memorial, especially after the past few years.
Now we really understand the fear that can come over a nation when something like smallpox enters our life. We need a place to honor not only those we've lost, but also the incredible work at the front lines of the scientists and doctors.
Friends of the Ruin hopes to fully stabilize the ruin and turn it into an open space for reflection.
Something you can walk through, a landscape that feels perhaps like it no longer belongs here, but it's stubbornly standing here, proud of its history and proud of all that awaits.